Hi, Alonso. I've been grading your work, your corrections, and your multiplying and dividing decimals and that. So what I wanted to do is actually go over pages 57 to 58, 58 to 59, sorry, fractions review, because you scored 24%, and I want to make sure you're very solid on your fractions. So my suggestion is that you would watch this video and we'll go over the corrections, and then next time you come, you should take 57, I keep calling it 57, 58 to 59, fractions review again, and see that you've got that solidly down for moving on. So let me start by sharing my screen with you. Okay, here's fractions review. And the first one you got wrong was number 1, and that was just a matter of reducing. You had 21 over 36, and that was correct. However, you have to divide the top and the bottom by the same number. So you got to think, what can I divide the top by, and what can I divide the bottom by? It has to be the same number. So here's a trick. With 3's, if you can add up the digits in the number, and the sum is divisible by 3, then the number itself is divisible by 3. So if I add up 2 plus 1, I get 3, right? And 3 is divisible by itself, 3. So I know that 21 will divide by 3. And 36, if I add up 3 plus 6, I get 9. And if I look at 9, I know that that's divisible by 3 as well. So I know 36 will also divide by 3. So there, that will be your reducing. And that would be your answer for 1 then, after you reduce that. Number 2, which fractions in this list are less than half? So for this kind, you're going to look at the denominator. So let's take a look. Well, we know that half isn't less than half, right? And you didn't circle that one. But let's take a look at 3/6. So 3 is our numerator, 6 is our denominator. And what you have to look for is think to yourself, what is half? What is half of the bottom number? So what is half of 6? 3, right? So half of 6 is 3. Let's write that in there then. Half of 6 is 3. So then we compare the 3 to the numerator. If the numerator is exactly 3, then we have exactly 1/2. If the numerator is more than 3, then we have a fraction that's bigger than 1/2. So that's what you're looking for. You want to find numbers that are less than 3, because that would mean it would be less than 1/2 then. So let's look at 7/15. So 15, what's exactly half of 15? Right, 7.5 is exactly half. Compare the 7.5 to the numerator and decide, is 7 less than 7.5? If yes, then 7/15 is less than half. And you would have to circle that one, because 7 is less than 7.5. So 7/15 is less than half. Okay, let's take a look at 4/9. You're going to do the same thing with 4/9. You're going to say, what's exactly half of 9? Well, that would be 4.5, right? 4.5 would be exactly half. So you want to compare that to the numerator. The numerator is 4. So if 4 is less than 4.5, then that fraction, 4/9, is less than half. So that would be another one to circle. And then I'll leave you to try 5/8 and decide if that is less than half. Okay, going on to number 3, we want to reduce 18 over 32. 18 over 32. And we want to reduce that to lowest term. So we need a number that's going to go into both 18 and 32. I know that 3 is not going to work, because if I add up 3 plus 2 on the bottom, I get 5, and that's not divisible by 3. So I know for sure that 2 is going to work because you have an even number. So if you have an even number there and there, 2 will always work. And maybe there's a bigger number, but we're going to start with 2 and see where we get to. So if I divide the top by 2 and I divide the bottom by 2, what will I get? Well, 2 times 9 is 18. What about 32 divided by 2? 2 goes into 3 one time. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down the 2, 12. 2 into 12 goes 6 times, 16. So then decide if 9/16 can be reduced further. A hint is if you have an odd number and an even number on your fractions, usually you cannot reduce that further unless 3 will go into both top and bottom. So you can decide that on number 3. Number 4, write 50/12 as a mixed number. So we're going to divide. So we're going to take the top number is always going to go on the inside of our long division house, I call it, and the bottom number goes on the outside. So now I say how many 12s go into 50 without going over? How close can I get? Well, we know that 12 times 5 is 60. That's too much. So let's try 12 times 4. And 12 times 4 is 48. So we're going to put the 4 up above the 0, and then we're going to say 12 times 4 is 48. And then we're going to subtract. 50 minus 48 is going to give us 2. So now what I'm going to do is that remainder is going to come up and become the numerator of my leftover fraction. So and 12ths is going to stay the bottom number. So now I have 4 and 2 12ths. Now that is not the answer yet because we have one more step. You were close on this one. 4 and 2 12ths can be reduced. The 2 12ths part needs reducing. What number can I divide the top and bottom by? Same number that will give me a reduced fraction. So you think on that one. Let's look at number 8. I'm going to clear my drawings. If you need to pause the video at any time, you can do so. I am going to email you this fractions review again. So let's clear. You might even want to do it at home rather than in your next session. So let me clear the drawings. Okay, let's do number 8 and scroll here. So you're adding fractions for number 8. I'm actually going to make a little bit more white space so we have a little more room here with this fraction adding stuff. Okay, so we have the fraction 4, number 8, 4 and 3/5, 8 and 1/2, and 7 and 2/3. Now, let's see what your answer was. Okay, you had 19 and 1/5. So let's see. Our bottom number has got to be one that will go and work with all 3 numbers. So I know that 15 is not going to work. These 2 won't go into 15. How about 30? Let's do 30. I know that 2 will go into 30. I know that 5 will go into 30. And I know that 3 will go into 30. If you don't know and you can't recognize what number to use for your bottom number, you can always multiply the 3 denominators and use that. So you could multiply 5 times 2 times 3, which actually turns out to be 30. So that's where I got the 30. So now I have to say 5 times what gave me 30? Well, 5 times 6, right? So I have to multiply the top by the same number. So then I have 3 times 6, which gives me 18. Now I have 1/2, so 2 times what gives me 30, right? 15. So I have to multiply the top number by 15. So it's just 1 times 15 there, isn't it? So that will give me 15. And then I've got, on the next one, 3 times something gives me 30, right? 10. And I have to multiply the top number, the numerator, by 10 as well. And 2 times 10 will give me 20. And now, because this is an adding, I'm going to add up my numbers. I'm going to add 18, 15, and 20. So 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 0 is just 13. So I bring down the 3 and I carry my 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 53 30ths. And then I have to change 53 30ths into a mixed number because 53 is bigger than 30. So now how many 30s go into 53? Right, just 1. So 1 times 30 is 30. If I go to 2, I'm over, right? Then I'm at 60. That's too much. 3 times 0 is 3. 5 times 3 is, 5 minus 3 is 2. So I'm left with 23. That's going to become my numerator of my leftover fraction, my remainder, and my bottom number is going to be 30th. Now that's not the answer yet. I still have to, different color here, I still have to add my whole numbers, right? Plus, I have to put in this additional whole number and add that to the bunch over here. And then my fraction is 23 30ths, right? I can't reduce that any further. So I'll let you finish that one. Let's go on to number 10. That's the next one. Mr. Gutierrez usually takes 3/4 hour to drive home from work. Because of a traffic jam, he took an extra 1 2/3 hours to get home one night. How long did the ride take him? I like to draw a picture, so he normally takes 3/4 of an hour to drive from point A to point B. But a traffic jam, he had to sit in the traffic jam for an additional 1 hour and 2/3. 1 2/3 hours, I should say. So you're adding the two together, and you did set that up correctly. I want you to double check your whole number when you did this, because your whole number was off. Your fraction turned out right, but your whole number was off on that one. Okay, number 11, find the combined weight of 3 packages that weigh 5.5 pounds, 4 7/16, and 3 3/8. So you did add. Something went wrong on your adding. So let's line these up. 5 1/2, 4 7/16, 3 3/8. Okay, we know that we can use 16ths as our bottom number. We're going to make these 16ths. 7/16 is already 16, so we'll just rewrite it as 7/16. And the last one would have to be set, that's supposed to be a 6. The last one would have to be set to 16ths as well. Now let's see how we do this. So we say 2 times what gives me 16? 2 times 8. You have to times 8 on the top. That gives you 8/16. I'll just leave it in red actually. Easier to pick out what numbers we're adding. I'll just put 7 there. And then down here, 8 times what gives me 16? 8 times 2. So I have to times 2 here. So 3 times 2 is 6. And now I'm going to be adding the red numbers, correct? So we're going to add up 8 plus 7 plus 6. 15, 21, right? So we have 21/16. 21/16. Now we have to convert 21/16 before we add these whole numbers. So let's make a little bit of white space here. So when I do this, I'm going to do that. 21 is on the inside, top number on the inside. 16 is on the outside. How many 16s can I get into 21? Well, 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. That's over, right? So just 1. So 1 times 16 is 16. 21 minus 16. 2 becomes a 1. Becomes 11. 11 from 6 is 5. So my 5 comes up and becomes my numerator. And 16 stays my denominator. But now I have to add my 3 whole numbers here. And I also have to add the 1 to the whole number column. So my answer will be the whole numbers added together and then 5/16. That's number 11. I'm going to clear now. Pause if you need to. Okay, number 12. 12, 13, and 14 were incorrect. So let's take a look at those. Some white space here. Okay, so number 12. 10 and 7/8 minus 5 and 2/5 minus. So we need a bottom number. It's going to have to be, what did you put? It's going to have to be 40th. I don't know if that's what you put because your answer doesn't show that, but we're going to put 40th. That's the only one that's going to work. So 8 times something gives me 40 times 5, right? So times 5 on the top. 7 times 5 is 35. And on the bottom now, 5 times something gave me 40. 5 times 8. So I times 8 on top. That'll give me 16, right? 2 times 8, 16. Now I'm subtracting. I don't have to borrow because 16 is less than 35. I just have to subtract. So 3 becomes a 2. 15 minus 6 is 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. 19/40. 19 is a prime number, so I'm not going to be reducing that anymore. And then you just subtract 10 minus 5 is 5. So that should have been your answer. You got 5 and 1/8. So I think you reduced 19/40 or something like that. Because there's nothing that'll go into 19. Okay, number 13. Let's just see what we got here. 15 and 2/11 minus 9 and 7/11. This is one example of borrowing because 7 is bigger than 2. So I have to borrow from the 15, from the whole number. That's going to become 14. I'm going to bring 1 over to the fraction side, but I'm not going to call it 1. I'm going to change it to a fraction. So since my bottom number is 11, I'm going to make my 1 11/11 because 11/11 is the same as 1. But then I've already got two 11s here. So I have to add the 2 11s to the 11/11 to give me 13/11. Okay. Now that I've renamed that and borrowed, now I can subtract from my 7/11 over from here. So 13 minus 7 is 6/11. And then I subtract my 14 minus my 9, 5, right? So my final answer should be 5 and 6/11. You had an answer of 6 and 5/11. So I think you just transposed something there. Okay, let's clear this. And number 14, I'll let you give that one a try on your own. That one was also incorrect. Let's look at number 16. The distance from Ellen's home to her school is 4 1/3 miles. If she has already traveled 2.5 miles, how far does she have to go? Yes, you are going to subtract, just like you showed your subtraction. Something went wrong on your subtraction. Not to worry, practice makes perfect. 4 1/3 and 2 1/2. Change your bottom numbers to sixes. Line here is a minus. 3 times 2 is 6, so 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6, so 1 times 3 is 3. You get 5, 6. Oh, you subtract. So now we've got a 3 and a 2. So we have to borrow. Look, I'm on the wrong problem there. So this becomes a 3. I'm bringing over 1, which I'm going to rename as 6/6. And I'm going to add it to the 2 that's already there. And I'm going to get 8/6 now. And I'm going to subtract 8/6 from 3/6. And I'll let you take that one from there. And a couple more problems here. Looks like the back side. Number 18. You just have to reduce that one. You came up with 6/15, so you just need to reduce that. What number goes in top and bottom? Okay, number 19, you also need to reduce. So you came up with 36/63. So think about how you could reduce that. Number 21, what is the total weight of 4 cartons if each carton weighs 16 1/4 pounds? You were very close on that one. I'll let you take a look at that one. Multiplying is correct. You made a small error there. 22, if 1 foot of wire costs 18 cents, how much do 5 1/3 feet of wire cost? 1 foot costs 18 cents, which is 5 1/3. So what did you do here? So you did 5 1/3. So you did 18 cents times 5 1/3 feet, right? So when you do multiplying of fractions, you change the, put this over 1. You change the mixed number to an improper fraction. So we take the whole number 5 times 3 plus 1. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16 thirds. So now we're multiplying 18/1 times 16 thirds. We can cancel out the 3 into 18. That goes 6 times. 3 into itself goes once. And now it's just a matter of multiplying 6 times 16. And the ones on the bottom will end up dropping off. See if you can come up with how many cents you have when you got that far. Number 23 here. 23 is 8/15 divided by 7/12. Let me make a little white space. Just do some white, oops, not that white space. Try it again. Just do that. Okay, so what we're doing, 8/15, so I use the philosophy of keep, change, flip. I'll type that in a minute. Keep, change, flip. So you keep the 8/15, the first fraction, you change the sign from division to multiplication, and you flip, spelled flip wrong. I'm going to fix that, it's going to bug me. And you flip the second fraction. So 7/12 would become 12 on top and 7 on the bottom. Now you just cancel where you can. So I see that 3 will go into 12 4 times, and 3 will go into 15 5 times. And now I multiply across. 4 times 8 is 32. Oh, that's a bad 32. What happened there? 32. And 5 times 7 is 35. What did you have? You had 28/90. Oh, you did not flip your second fraction. So keep the first fraction, change the sign to multiply, flip the second fraction. My guess is that's what's going to happen on number 24 and 25 as well. So here's number 24. It's going to be keep the first fraction, which is 14, and we're going to put it over 1 because it's a whole number. Change the sign to times, flip the second fraction. 9 will go on top, 4 will go on the bottom. And then I'll let you figure it out from there. Here's 25. Keep the first fraction, change the sign to times, flip the second fraction. Well, what is the fraction? It's a 12 over 1, right? So it's going to be 1 over 12. There you go. Okay, clear. Moving on, number 26. Same concept. I think that's why you got these wrong. 26 is going to be the same thing except one additional step. Before you can do keep, change, flip, you have to change the mixed numbers into improper fractions. How do you do that? You take whole number times the bottom and then plus the top. And I should put parentheses around whole number times the bottom. You do that first and then you add the top. That's how you change into an improper fraction. And you can apply your keep, change, flip at that point. 27 is a little different. 4/5 of what number is 60? So you're going to take 60 and you're going to be dividing it by 4/5. Why? Because you are missing the big number. You're missing the whole. You have the part, you're missing the whole. So again, you're going to do keep, change, flip for that one. You're going to put 60 over 1. You're going to keep the 60 over 1, then you're going to change it to times, and then you're going to flip the second fraction. Okay, let's look at 28. Carpenter needs 3.5 yards of lumber to build a bookcase. How many bookcases can he build from 21 yards of lumber? Okay, what did you do here? Oh, this is a common mistake. When you're doing division problems, you have to decide what number comes first because it's really important because you only flip the second number, the second fraction, and you have to know which one that is. So he has 21 yards of lumber and he can make he can make bookcases if he uses 3.5 yards of lumber for every bookcase. So this is your setup. And then you're going to have to change this mixed number to 7 over 2, right? Dividing, and then 21, we're going to just put that over 1. And now apply your keep, change, flip. Make sure you only flip the second fraction. And then number 29, for a 7.5-hour day, Ed makes $90. How much does he make in 1 hour? That is also going to be division. What is the number that comes first? Right, 90, just like the last one. 90 is the whole, and after dividing by 7.5 hours, then you will get how much he makes per hour. So it's just like number 28 once you've got it set up. So let's clear everything here. So I hope that helps you. And we can work on this at your next session, or you can try it at home. I am going to email you an additional copy of 58 to 59 to try again. So bye. See you soon.